Game & Watch being in Kingdom Hearts 3 may sound weird, but actually it makes perfect sense, if you know your history. Hello, and welcome to Maximum Showcase, a series of videos where I present special group footage from popular media with some commentary by myself. Earlier this week, Square Enix and Disney released a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, showcasing an aspect of the game where the player can interact with a few minigames that look like LCD games from the 80s and 90s. The footage shows a classic cartoon-style version of the game's protagonist, Sora, and classic versions of Mickey, Minnie, Pete, and other characters as they engage in activities very similar to notable games from Nintendo's Game & Watch series of handheld video games released in the early 80s. Many Disney and video game fans alike have questioned the choice of style in the game, but their inclusion here is, intentional or otherwise, a nod to a series of officially licensed Game & Watch games developed by Nintendo, and featuring characters from Disney properties like Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. The Game & Watch games were LCD games released by Nintendo in the early 80s before and around the time of the Nintendo Entertainment System or Famicom in Japan. They contained a singular game that manipulated black spaces on the screen in conjunction with a plastic layer over top of it. These games also had an alarm clock capability, giving them the name Game & Watch. The concept was from the mind of Nintendo developer Gunpei Yokoi, who also provided the idea of the Game Boy as the decade went on, in addition to helping in the development of Nintendo series like Metroid and Kid Icarus. The line of games has seen many different re-releases and is commonly referenced in other Nintendo titles, most notably in the character of Mr. Game & Watch, an abstract amalgamation of several Game & Watch titles as portrayed in the Super Smash Bros. Series. Two Disney ones, dubbed Mickey Mouse and Mickey and Donald, were ones released in this decade. You can see that they are very similar to other classic Game & Watch games. Games based on other classic cartoon properties were also produced, including Charles Schulz's Peanuts and Popeye the Sailor. This would be one of the examples of Nintendo's relationship with the Popeye license. Mario and Zelda creator Shigeru Miyamoto wanted to use the characters in an early version of the 1981 game, Donkey Kong, but was unable to secure the rights in the production of that game. Nintendo later acquired the license and produced an arcade game separate from Donkey Kong years later. Many people have noted possible inspiration from Popeye, Olive Oyl, and Bluto in the characters of Mario, originally called Jumpman, Pauline, and Donkey Kong, respectively. These licensed Game & Watch games would be referenced in the 2008 game Super Smash Bros. Brawl on a screen that cataloged all of Nintendo's titles up until December of 2007. In how Square Enix and Disney could use the likeness of the Game & Watch LCD style, both companies have long and complicated histories with Nintendo, but are all viewed as having a good relationship with one another. Square's titles have been on Nintendo platforms ever since the 1980s with the NES and the SNES, including the Kingdom Hearts series. Cloud Strife, the protagonist of Final Fantasy VII, was also featured as a downloadable fighter in the most recent Super Smash Bros. Installment with many elements and signature summons from that game. Disney is also seen as having a good relationship with Nintendo. The Japanese video game company allowed the use of several of their characters in the 2012 film Wreck-It Ralph. Super Mario himself was also referred to by name, but does not appear.
I'll bet that's Mario. Fashionably late, per the norm.
It's also worth saying that in the years after the discontinuation of the Game & Watch line, many other video game and toy companies have used similar technology to produce games in the vein of Nintendo's series. Thanks for watching this history lesson on how LCD games are actually appropriate in Kingdom Hearts 3. Please subscribe if you want to see more content from this channel, and be sure to leave a like and comment what you want to see covered in a future Maximum Showcase video. I'm MaximumAustin, and I'll see you next time.